poem that sits on the desk of John Maxwell, a famous businessman, successful author, known for leading research in leadership. A careful man I want to be, a little fellow follows me. I do not dare to go astray, for fear he'll go the same self way. I cannot once escape his eyes. Whatever he sees me do, he tries. Like me, he says he's going to be, that little chap that follows me. I must remember as I go, through summer suns and winter snows. I am building for the years to be, that little chap that follows me. Who follows you? Your team? Your children? Younger siblings? We are told, according to Ken Blanchard, that any time you seek to influence the thinking, behavior, or development of people towards accomplishing a goal, personal or professional, you have already made the choice to take the role of leadership. 7 years ago, I was given the opportunity to lead. Prior to the leadership position, I'd been in banking for 9 years. I knew I had the experience. I didn't know if I had what it took to be a good leader. How would I unite this dynamic group of bankers? How would I influence them to reach their highest potential? And the biggest question for me, I was no longer an individual that could sit and hold myself accountable to God's standards. I now had to develop a way to hold a team accountable to do the work that held up to God's standards, work that would show what He valued. How was I to do that in a corporate environment? It is through the work of Ken Blanchard and Phil Hodges, behavioral scientists and authors, that helped me to formulate an answer to that question. Blanchard himself, after the publication of their first book that helped millions to become better leaders, began to give credit to a higher being. He wasn't a follower at this time, but he knew that his success wasn't just from his own doings. So he started researching Jesus in Scripture. And he couldn't stop thinking about how could one man influence 12 just ordinary men to become our first generation of leaders that would still influence us some 2,000 years ago. It was that thought that has turned into the book that I've utilized for most of my leadership, Lead Like Jesus. It also led to his acceptance of Christ and baptism. Today I would like to share with you the foundation that Hodges and Blanchard have developed. There are 4 areas: heart, head, hand, and habit. Let's start with heart. The heart is the center of motivation. Leadership is a matter of the heart. The commandments tell us that we must first and foremost love others. That's going to come from the heart. It's those feelings that formulate into thoughts as we move into the mind, the head. Those thoughts are going to turn into our verbal cues, how we address our team, how we handle situations, our attitudes that we have towards our jobs, towards our customers, towards our team. It's where we're going to formulate the thought and make the decision whether or not we want to be a servant leader or a leader that gets served. In order to lead a Christ-centered team, we're going to move on to hand. A hand is a symbol of action. We're going to choose to be serving leaders. A position of servant leadership It's a call to act. Studies indicate effective leaders don't sit behind a desk with the door closed, shut off from their team and their clients. They stand on the front line. They lead by example. Patrick Lencioni is another author of The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. The major dysfunction of any team, of course, starts with the leader that is centered around ego. There's not a place for ego and self-centeredness on a team. So research has shown, Patrick Lencioni states, ego has to go. We have to create a team that is a servant team to serve others. That brings us to habit. Through our heart, our head, the action of our hands, we must make that a habit. On a daily basis, we must renew our commitment to Christ, ourselves, our team, that this is how we do it. We are going to have those days that are hectic. The pressure is on. We've got to meet the bottom line, our sales numbers. The staff is called in sick. I have to be on a conference call in 15 minutes and a meeting downtown in an hour. It's a stressful situation. But because I have formed good habits, my team knows how I'm going to respond. Each and every time we're in a stressful situation or a pleasant situation, my team knows what to expect. Consistency is what I get from forming a habit. And research has shown that how we handle these situations is what's going to determine what type of leader we are and the respect that we're going to receive from our teams. Blanchard, Hodgins, Lencioni, and Maxwell, all experts on leadership that we've discussed today, they provided us with the knowledge on how we can use our influence in leadership in a way that honors what God values no matter what environment we are in. Whether we are surrounded by believers or non-believers, this is something we can implement. Love others, have a good attitude and thought, and share that with your team. Be hands-on. Be called to act. Stand on the front line and make that habit. The key is to form that habit, to use your heart and your heads to direct your hands to serve and not be served. I leave you today with Mark 10:45. For even I, the Son of God, came here not to be served, but to serve others and to give my life as ransom for many. Thank you so much for coming today.